Stop hitting the snooze button on your dreams. You want freedom? You want profits? You want it now? Forget the years of planning. We're talking launchpad ignition. We're talking zero to home service hero in days. Not months, days. Are you in? Let's party. Hey pros, thanks for stopping by. My name is Santiago and I happen to own a home service business by the name of SOS Garage Door Service. And we've been serving our community here in Southern California for about 20 years now. And we're super happy what we have built and how we're able to contribute and support our community, of course, with their residential garage door needs. But in this video, I want to kind of highlight that topic that we have revisited over and over again about starting a home service business fast. And thinking in terms that a home service business is something that you could literally start in days. Well, what would it take for you right now in the next couple of days, in the next few days, to be able to start your home service business if you wanted to do so? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about that, but at the same time, we're going to give you actionable steps. In other words, we're going to give you at least a blueprint, some groundwork, so that you can get started now. Now, take into account that when in today's market, it's really interesting because there are so many people getting into the home service trades. Small businesses today are booming. I know that sounds a little weird, and it's not so much that we haven't had small businesses ever. We've had a number of small businesses, but we are seeing a transition from what is the baby boomer generation now going or being handed off to the new generation. So there's a lot of young bucks, there's a lot of young guys out there that are ready to start their home service business. So the market is hot. To be able to start a home service business right now is one of the best times to do so. And so you can definitely get into the garage door business, or perhaps plumbing business, HVAC, electrician. Pick your poison. Basically, the home service trades are primed. Of course, there are a number of things to take into consideration because, and maybe you've heard this, it's like, oh, well, you got to get set up first as a corporation and an LLC or a sole proprietor. What's better? If you're taking into account some of the tax benefits, or if you're trying to look at perhaps structuring your business in a way that's going to get the most tax return, try not to focus too much on that. In fact, all of that overthinking could hinder you from starting your home service business. Right now, you're in the season of just starting. So the work that needs to be done right now has to be fast. You have to kind of debunk the idea of having to set up your structure, having to set up your home service business before doing any of the work, before even getting paid. And that's just not the case. So think in terms of, and we're setting the tone here, right, of rapid action. We want to get rapid results right now. And the way we're able to get rapid results right now is by getting started, is by saying, hey, I know this craft, I know this trade, I know, or I have this ability, and I'm going to go out and let the world know that today I'm getting started and I'm going to help my community with my home service business. But now that doesn't mean we're not going to have some structure to our business. So we definitely want to be able to hone in on what type of structure we're going to have. If we're doing it with someone else, or in other words, if we're starting a home service business with someone else, we're going to probably start a partnership. If we're a newbie, alone, and we know our stuff, that is with the trade, well, then we're probably going to start as a sole proprietor. Perhaps maybe we have some investor money backing us up. Someone's investing money into our home service business, and we have, I would say, the brawn, they have the brains and the capital. Maybe we're looking at an S Corp or a corporation of sorts. Whatever the case is, these are just the gist. This is just the idea of what your structure could look like. Most of us, like myself, started out as a sole proprietor. In fact, we're still a sole proprietor today. We're not looking to take over the world. That's not necessary, ladies and gentlemen. We're just looking to be able to help our community. And that's the key right there. When you think about helping your community, you're going to see that your home service business is just going to grow. It's going to skyrocket. So that's just the quick and dirty of setting your structure to your home service business. Of course, there are licensing and permits that are needed for whatever community you plan on serving. For example, in the state of California, I have to have a contractor's license, which is known as a C61 D28 limited liability license to work on garage doors. I was able to get my license back in the day. I was so grateful. It was one of the highlights of my career. And being able to have that licensing has now enabled me to serve my community here in Southern California. Of course, you're able to get other licenses through other organizations, and you'll definitely need contractor licenses for electrical and plumbing and even HVAC. Whatever the case is with those licenses, take into account that you might have to acquire those things maybe before starting your business, but don't take too long. In fact, in most states, if you set up your home service business as like a handyman service, even though you specialize in one of the trades that we've mentioned, you are able to make about $1,000 a day without having to be licensed. At least in Southern California, that's what the law stipulates. You don't have to be licensed to do garage door repairs or garage door motor installs. I can't see anyone doing a garage door install for under $1,000. That just makes no sense. But the point I'm trying to put out here is, again, those licensings, you might have to acquire them before getting your structure started and before getting even started with your home service business. But don't take too long. It's all that minutia is just going to slow you down. You want to get started now, fast today. So once you have that fast, actionable start, think in terms of what you might need, for example, like in insurances and things like that. And insurance isn't going to be too crazy. You might have to get a general liability insurance. You might have to do some things to be able to just cover your butt in the event that you have an issue with one of your jobs that you're taking care of for your customers. So these are just small things. These are small actionable items that you can put into place that just gets you started in the first few days of your home service business trade. Still, you might feel the need to have an online presence. Maybe you're thinking about getting your website set up. Maybe you're thinking about getting your social medias worked on. Don't waste your time doing any of that. If you need something to organize yourself, a ledger will probably make most sense. There are a number of great free Google products that you can utilize to start your ledger. And of course, if you are looking at an online presence, well, a website is great, but usually landing pages are probably going to be more practical because a landing page will specifically say what type of business you are and how they can solicit your service or basically contract your services for the needs of the home. If we are looking at, for example, a social media outlet, I would consider YouTube as being number one. I don't think TikTok, Instagram has enough return as YouTube. And I have these YouTube channels. YouTube has been very good to me. But don't waste your time in trying to figure out what social media strategy is going to work for you. Stick with one right now. And the one that probably has the most return of investment will be YouTube. As for contracts, invoices, and proposals, Google is going to have a number of products, a suite, in fact, that they'll be able to provide for you for free. Of course, you can utilize the limited version. As you grow your home service business, you might find the need to invest into other products, but that's not going to happen right now in the next few days of your home service business. And if we're talking about marketing, remember that marketing is all about feeling. Marketing, in essence, is how are we going to help people know in the community what we're about and what we can do for them. So the social media is going to be really important, but just stick with one. We've already talked about YouTube. Think in terms of how to get your message out. You can do that by posting content. It does not have to be pretty content. It just has to be constant content. Now, let me share with you a little bit about my story when I started my home service business. I started pretty much dedicating the majority of my time into advertising and marketing my brand, marketing my home service business through Craigslist, through Penny Saver, through a number of the free or low cost outlets. I didn't have a lot of marketing dollars. Well, the truth is that I didn't want to dedicate a lot of marketing dollars to advertising. So if I didn't have a lot of money, I at least did have a lot of time to be able to dedicate advertising, marketing efforts to those free channels or low-cost channels. But here's the cautionary tale about my story. When you do throw those efforts, when you dedicate those efforts to those low to no cost marketing, advertising avenues, you're going to attract a low to no cost customer. Now, that's not to say that, not to be disparaging to the customers that are on those platforms. In reality, that's just kind of what those platforms nurture to. They basically provide information to the low cost to no cost loss leader solution. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is basically think in terms that when you are starting out, don't race your way to the bottom. That is, don't start advertising, don't start marketing, don't start doing things just to get you to the lowest number, to the bottom. That is a race that we all play when we start our home service business. And in fact, it affects us to the degree where we're working harder, we're working double, and we're definitely not working smarter. Therefore, if you are starting your home service business in a short amount of time, offer a very high-end service. For example, for the garage door trade, it's going to be the springs. You want to think about springs that are going to be for a customer. Now, springs will break anywhere from 10 to 15,000 cycles, maybe less, maybe more. But the idea is that not all springs fit all doors. In other words, there's a variety of spring sizes that will fit garage doors. So if you come in with the loss leader spring size, that's going to get you roughly around 10,000 cycles, you may feel compelled to charge anywhere from $200, maybe $250. When in reality, you can offer your customer a little bit more high-end experience with a high cycle spring, and now you're anywhere from $500 to $600. Tell me, if you started your home service business like that, would you be making money? Absolutely. Therefore, continue to specialize and offer your service at a more premium price. Try not to race to the bottom. Try not to give your services away clearly, even though you might have to start doing that for some of your family and friends. But the idea here is continue to offer a premium experience at that premium price. But you're probably thinking, no, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for my business. That's not going to work for my community. I have to be able to have value-based pricing. I have to undercut everyone. I have to be able to do this in order to get started. And well, all I can say to that is, you do what you want, but you will find yourself working a lot harder just to be able to acquire those customers. And if you think about value-based pricing, well, you can get away with offering a little bit more bang for your buck, particularly if you're looking to give something away, something free away, like a can of lubrication or perhaps maybe some type of sealant or some type of benefit to the homeowner that would not necessarily require a huge upfront cost from you. So undercutting, value-based pricing, just remember that you're going to have to play that rat race over and over again. Yet, if you are learning or acquiring the skills to upsell, to cross-sell, to be able to provide value to the homeowner when you are visiting the site, saying, listen, for X amount of dollars, we can do this, but for just a little bit more, we can help you optimize the entire system. Wouldn't that be great? And your customer will definitely see whether you're being sincere or not. That will help them tremendously, but don't be afraid to upsell, especially when you're starting out in this endeavor. So to recap, when starting your home service business, you want fast, actionable steps. You want to be able to get your business going. You want to let the community know who you are. You want to utilize a strong social media presence like YouTube and throw out content that's not going to be pretty, but it's just going to be valuable. In addition to that, you want to set up your pricing structure. And of course, you're going to set up your business structure along that. If you need to acquire some licensing, go ahead and get that first before you hit the first nail, before you apply the first lubrication or change your first springs, whatever the case is. The idea is that when you get started, you want to get started hitting the ground running. And by doing that, you're going to be able to see that there's going to be a lot of buzz, a lot of energy. You're going to find yourself just really just feeling the rush of owning a home service business. Now, that could die pretty quick if you're not feeding the fuel, if you're not fueling your heart, your mind, your health. So you have to step back a little bit to be able to say, okay, where am I at now? What do I need to do? Take your rest days. That's the idea. You want to be able to step back and see, okay, where's my structure at now? Where do I need to go? How do I need to price? And how can I help my community? Because when you're thinking about your community, you're thinking about putting them first. You're thinking about serving first. And that's one of the best ways to start your home service business. With the outreach efforts that you have, convey the idea that you are here to help, that you are here to inspire, that you are here to guide, that you are here to dispel the myths, that you are here to speak truth, that you are here to offer value, options, and the ability to be able to take care of their home service problems. So when starting your home service business, there's a number of things that you want to brainstorm as you get started. In fact, we offer a free digital resource, our Brand Brainstorming Igniter. With this resource, you'll be able to utilize the principles to get your home service business started with the fantastic social media methods to get your message out, to get your brand out, to get your work out, and so that way customers can get to you and you can get to making money. Now, as I say that, I have to put myself in check because for me, money doesn't motivate me. I know that's really weird to say. It doesn't really motivate me. But what does motivate me is doing great work, is making sure that my home service business is primed and it's perfect to be able to help my community, to be able to help my neighbor, to be able to help my family. And that's one of the things that I think about whenever I started my home service business. I wanted to be able to do great things with it. And I know that today I am accomplishing those great things because I have that mindset and I have that focus. I didn't necessarily have it when I started my home service business back then, but I definitely have it now. And that's the reason why I do these videos. So that way I can provide you the guidance, the necessary encouragement, the necessary insight so that you can get started. You can get started right, you can get started fast, and you can get started now.